Hi, everybody. Welcome to Live Spirit Chat. Live Spirit Chat happens almost every Sunday at 3 p.m. United States Central Standard Time on YouTube and on Instagram. And this is a chance for you to participate in a live group teaching session and get your questions answered about all kinds of things to do with your spiritual development, your spiritual practice, developing your spiritual connection, developing your psychic abilities, magic, and working with your spirits, and all kinds of things related and in between. So I am happy to take your questions. I do have early bird questions as usual, and I have quite a few of them because I've been collecting them for 2 weeks now. Hi, Beth. Thank you. Hi, Yadi. Welcome. Thanks for being here. So I've got quite a bit of early bird questions to address, and then we might have some time to take live questions after that. But first, I want to let you know about a couple of extra special announcements. So I didn't get the message, Yadi, sorry. So in January, I'm doing some extra special stuff, and one thing is a workshop that I'm going to be doing here in Austin, Texas. If you are nearby, I highly encourage you to look into this. This is a workshop, a 3-hour special workshop taking place at Minx Plus Muse, and it is called Conjuring New Year Blessings. We're going to be working together hands-on to manifest your New Year intentions and your New Year goals. It's going to be a really fun class. We're going to implement tarot magic. We're going to implement candle magic. We're going to do some law of attraction sort of manifesting exercises. It's going to be super fun. So look into that. It's happening on January 11th, Saturday, January 11th from 4 to 7 p.m. at Minx Plus Muse here in Austin, Texas. And then for my Mystic membership, January is a great time to become a Mystic member. There's going to be some really special offers. If you are interested in becoming a Mystic member, join the Patreon community before January 1st. You can find that by clicking the link in my Instagram bio. In January, I'm going to be offering everybody who is a member at every level, each and every person is going to be invited to participate in a live private reading session where you receive readings from me pertaining to your New Year goals, your New Year intentions, and also your New Year forecast. So everything pertaining to your new decade in 2020. Everyone who's a member is going to receive that benefit. So January is a great time to join. And then the other thing that I'm offering in January through Mystic membership is a virtual version of the Conjuring New Year Blessings class. So this is going to be a virtual version of manifesting your New Year intentions, where I walk you through several steps for manifesting your intentions and really provide you the hands-on guidance to manifest your intentions and to create that magic together. So super excited about those things. Let me take a breath, have some tea, and then start attending to these early bird questions. And let's see who's here on Instagram. Hi, everybody. I see some familiar faces. I see maybe some new faces. Hi, everyone. Thanks for saying hi. Hi, Tenacious TJ. Thanks for being here. Hello, hello. Happy holidays, everyone. Happy holidays. I'm hoping that you and your family or your families or your friends or whoever you may or may not celebrate with, I'm hoping that you are having a relaxing holiday season. And I'm wishing you many, many blessings this holiday season and into the new year and beyond. So let's get into these early bird questions. What does it mean when candles snap, crackle, and pop? So noisy candles that are popping, that are loud, that are crackling, that is typically an indication that spirit is speaking back to you. That is usually a positive indication Instagram is freezing up already. Hey, I think we were frozen. Sorry about that. So that is usually a positive indication that spirit is speaking to you and that spirit is answering your prayers. That spirit is saying, yes, I have heard your petitions. I know what you need. I'm listening. I'm here. I'm participating in this magic with you. So that's one interpretation. But sometimes that snapping, crackling, and popping in candle magic means that there is a lot of energy, even perhaps a blockage, that spirit and or that spiritual energy is trying to force through. It means that there is extra work, extra effort that needs to be put forth on the part of spirit or on the part of that energy from the service. So it can mean that spirit or the magic has to work extra hard to fight through something. So just like with everything that I do, I'm going to say the same thing here. It's really important to pay attention to your own intuition and to really be in tune with the energy of the service, and to also pay attention to the other signs from the spell work and the other signs from the candle, because kind of putting the whole picture together is going to tell you, is this a positive or a negative sign? Usually it's positive, but it can mean a blockage. So, oh, I meant to grab that book. I may be able to reach it. I'm going to kind of snap out of screen for a second. Okay, sorry about that. So the next question is about the Success Dream book. It's a book about numerology. And I had somebody message me. They watched one of my videos where I did book recommendations, and this was one of the books that I had recommended, and they got the book and they were like, what? This is just full of a bunch of random numbers. I don't understand how to use it. What are all these numbers all about? So these Success Dream books, there's a bunch of them. There's all kinds of versions of these that were put out over the years. I think sometimes by different people, even by different publishers and different authors, and like they would be updated every year, every now and again, and lots of different people put them out. So they're all different, and it depends on what version you got, but they're really cool. They're really old books, and it's numerology. So the long story short is the way to use these numbers is to be able to interpret the numbers based on numerology. But what this book does is the one that I have, this one that I have, which is by Professor D. Herbert, and it says watch 362 and 428. So those are the numbers that he recommends that year. So this is by Professor D. Herbert, and if I remember correctly, yeah, I don't think it tells me when it was published. But I think that this is from the 30s or the 40s, and a lot of these Success Dream books are from that era. And the one that I have specifically, it breaks down numerology for all kinds of different words. Like I'm flipping through random pages, peeling potatoes. And it shows you a number for peeling potatoes, 373. And it says to dream of peeling potatoes denotes that you will be a servant all the days of your life. So they're using numerology for dream interpretation. They're also using numerology to assist you with making decisions. So these books are full of indexes of numerology broken down into different categories of life. For instance, there's a section in here. There's a section here for your horoscope. So it breaks down the numbers that apply to your horoscope, what your lucky numbers are and what the numbers are that you should avoid. And there's a section that breaks down the numerology for different names, first names, right? And then it tells you what those numbers mean for you, like what, because of your numerological makeup, what things are going to be lucky for you in life, what things you're going to need to avoid. So you need to like understand a little bit about numerology in order to use these books. or maybe, you know, do some extra research about that. And this is the other index that I wanted to point out. So there's a whole section that breaks down the numerology associated with different states and different cities, right? So this is supposed to be used to help you make your decisions. So maybe you're thinking about moving to Seattle, Washington. According to this book, the numerological number for Seattle, Washington is number 152. So you would go ahead and use your information about numerology, or use another book on numerology to interpret, okay, what is the meaning for number 152? And then help yourself make a decision based on that. It's a method for divination, among other things. But the reason it's called the Success Dream Book is because it's supposed to help you with numbers that you may dream of. And the belief, or the tradition that is behind this, is that you may dream of the numbers to play in lottery. So that's kind of a fun component for this. So if you dream of a number, or you see numbers in your dreams, then you would go ahead and look that number up in these books, and then you would determine, okay, maybe that's a good number to play for lottery, or that number is a sign, it's a warning, or it's an omen that's telling me something is going to occur in my life, or it's a warning telling me that I need to avoid lakes this summer. Like, who knows? But that's a brief synopsis of how those books are used. Hi, Linda. Nice to see you. So, how often do you recommend burning candles on a sweet jar? So if you're going to be keeping your sweet jar around for some time, then I recommend burning candles on it once a week. And it depends on the size of the candle too, and it depends on your goal. So like if your sweetening jar is for the purpose of bringing money and abundance into your life, or sweetening the energies of money and abundance in your life, then that's something that you should be working on all the time consistently, because our relationship to money is consistent. We have interactions with money every day in our lives. So because of that, you'll want to also put consistent energy into your sweet jar when it's for the purpose of money. So in that case, you may want to burn a candle every day, right? So it depends on your goal, your intention, and it also depends on like what size of candle you use. But I would recommend that you burn a candle at least once a week, especially if you're going to be keeping your sweet jars around for some time. And you can keep them around for a long time if you would like to. Now, if it's a different kind of goal that doesn't necessarily pertain to something that's in your life on a daily basis, and instead it's something that you can work with cyclically, like with the moon phase, or perhaps you want to sit down and actually say some prayers or do some meditation every time that you burn a candle with it, then you can kind of set up a schedule for yourself. I would prefer once a week, but you could do it like 2 times a month, something of that nature. So it depends also on kind of how you're working that jar. The way that I work a jar is I put a lot of magic into it initially when I'm creating it, right? And then as I burn candles on it, I'm putting magic into those candles every time that I'm burning them as well. So I like to start a new candle every time one goes out, and I like to keep that energy consistent. But I only do it for a specific amount of time. So I might work that jar for 7 weeks or 9 weeks, something like that. Okay. So here's a part 2 about the sweet jars. And the question is also, if the honey gets crystallized and doesn't move, is it a bad sign? And kind of a side note, she thinks that the reason this is happening is because it's cold where she is. Well, yeah, the weather is definitely going to affect the flow of the honey. But generally speaking, with a sweetening jar, you want that energy to be flowing well all the time. And the way that the contents are behaving, the way that they're flowing, has indications about your situation. So if the honey gets hardened and stuck, then it can also mean that your situation has the potential to get hardened and stuck, or to not be progressing, to not be moving, or for blockages to form. So you have to look at it like the contents of that sweet jar are a microcosm that is, it's like a mini universe of the situation that you're working towards, right? So it's like, if you're working on a relationship, then those ingredients, they are an aspect of your relationship. They are, it's like a mini version of the energy related to your relationship. And it's because you're creating an energetic or a magical link there, then everything that's happening with those contents can be happening in your relationship if this were for a relationship. So you don't want it to be stuck, long story short. You want it to be flowing, and you want it to be healthy. You want it to smell good. You want all of the ingredients to still smell fresh, and you want it to be flowing and active. And those are positive indications that your situation is, there's going to be movement in your situation as well. So people will use different tricks in order to get that energy kind of flowing again. Some people will heat up their jars. Personally, I don't like doing that. And what I would probably do is open it up and take those stuck parts out, and then add other ingredients that will help get it flowing. You can open your jars. A lot of people traditionally believe or feel like you shouldn't open your jars. They say that that will break the magic. I disagree. You can definitely open them and keep working with them. You can add fresh ingredients. You can add things that are going to like intensify it. You know, it's meant to be worked with consistently over time. And that means you can keep reassessing the situation and determine, okay, this situation needs to be heated up. I'm going to add some cinnamon. I'm going to add some allspice. I'm going to add some fire to this and heat up this energy and get things active. I'm going to scoop out these hardened chunks, and I'm going to go ahead and put some syrup in here because syrup is faster moving, and I need this situation to have some movement and to get through these blockages. So those are some examples of how you can kind of get that energy going again. Of course, you need to be putting magic in there too, putting energy in there too, not just ingredients, but you get the point. And then somebody says, stop troublesome neighbors. So I'm assuming that this is a question that is meant to say, how do I stop troublesome neighbors? So if you want to get your neighbors to leave, and I only recommend this if they're like really a problem for you. I don't recommend defensive magic or any kind of heavy-handed magic unless it's a serious situation. So if your neighbors are really a problem, or if they pose a potential threat to you, if they're disruptive to your work life, if they're going to be a bad influence on your kids, if they're going to interfere in your marriage, I mean, if they're really going to screw up your life somehow, then I'm going to pause for a second, y'all, because Instagram is frozen again. Okay, cool. So if your neighbors are really going to screw up your life somehow, then I recommend making them leave. And the way that I would do that would be with hot footing. So there's a lot of different ways that you can work with hot foot powder. So I recommend that you look into that. So traditionally, people would normally recommend that you go ahead and put that hot foot powder in front of their front door, or in their footprints, or even in their shoes or under their front mat, things of this nature to get them to leave. But I don't always recommend that in modern times, because I've heard of people that have gotten caught on camera or otherwise, you know, sprinkling powders around people's houses and people's cars. If you end up getting into any kinds of other disagreements with your neighbors, and, you know, this kind of thing can be used in court, long story short. So be careful about going and putting powders around people's houses and people's apartments. A lot of people have cameras in their doorbells or things of this nature these days. So you can work with hot foot powder from a distance. You can go ahead and use that in all kinds of different workings, and it's going to be more potent and probably work faster when you're in such close vicinity with them anyway. So if you need them to leave, then that's one thing. If you just need them to quiet down and like to level out the situation, to bring in some tranquility and some peace, you could do a peaceful home candle for them. Just burn a peaceful home vigil candle. You can do that kind of a working or a spell for them. You know, something we don't often think about, or something a lot of people don't often think about, is that when other people are causing us problems, we don't have to immediately go to, okay, how do I get revenge on them? Or how do I make them go away? Or how do I protect myself? We also have the ability to help them. So depending on the situation, you may want to try to assist them with just having a quieter, more peaceful, tranquil atmosphere or lifestyle for themselves. Like if they had a lot of quarreling in their house, or they're unhappy people, or they're having a lot of hardship in their life, or maybe they have addictions. If it's things of this nature that are causing them to be troublesome, you can consider actually assisting them with their issues. Lastly, if you are actually having trouble just getting along with them, like you all have a personality conflict, or, you know, you just kind of rub each other the wrong way, or you've had some misunderstandings, you know, you could go ahead and do a sweetening service. You could do a sweetening jar for them to sweeten up your relationship. So there are positive ways that you could work on making this a better situation as well. Okay, so somebody is asking about their altar because of the holidays. And she is saying that even though she's generally out about her practices and her beliefs, and most of her friends and family understand, she's going to be having a lot of people in her house for the holidays. And she wants to take down her altars because she doesn't want people touching them or asking a lot of extra questions. Even though she's out about her practices, she just doesn't feel like dealing with the questions. So she is asking, is there a right way, or a respectful way, or you know, a prescribed way to take down your altars and then set them back up? And I get the impression that she's concerned with somehow being disrespectful. So if you're not following a specific tradition that has a prescribed way to break down or set up altars, which some traditions do, if you're not following that tradition, which obviously you're not, then there is no like real set in stone way. If you want to be respectful, then you just need to add some reverence to this process. And what that means is talking to your spirits, or I don't know if this is an altar for ancestors or for spirits or for deities, I'm not sure. But whoever it is you're honoring with that altar, or whoever it is that you're interacting with through that altar, speak to them before you take it down. Let them know, like, hey, this is temporary. I just need to move your altar. I'm going to make you comfortable somewhere else. If you can put the stuff in, excuse me, in a private location temporarily while your altar has been taken down, then that would be really beneficial to continue the relationship with whoever it is you are revering there. And I would give them some extra offerings. Give them some extra offerings and, you know, explain to them the situation, apologize to them. Sorry, I have to move you around, but this is just temporary. I am going to continue my devotions with you, continue my relationship with you, and I'll have you set back up in your normal home as soon as I can after the holidays. You know, talk to them like you would a friend or a family member. Now, if you can't give them, like if you don't have another space to set them up in so that they'll be comfortable while their altar is dismantled, then you can wait until you set up the altar again. But at some point, you need to give them some extra offerings. give them some extra devotions, give them some extra gratitude, without asking them for anything. Of course, this is just a way to honor them and a way to, once again, strengthen the connection and once again, strengthen the relationship. And I recommend that kind of process anytime you have to rearrange an altar, or anytime you have to rearrange statues or photos, that each time you cleanse it and you give extra offerings and you give extra devotions and you give extra prayers. And that's it in a nutshell. Okay, next question is, can you trust that your ancestors are at your altar even if you don't have a candle? So the first part of this is your ancestors aren't necessarily at your altar. In my beliefs and in my tradition, your ancestors don't necessarily live at your altar. Your altar is just the physical representation of that relationship and that spiritual connection that you're creating with your ancestors. Your altar is the place for you to go and to work on that connection. It's a sacred place where it's really for you more than it is for them, just in the sense that they don't live there at the altar physically. The altar is for you to call them into your life and to work on your relationship. So what I'm trying to say is they're with you. They're not at the altar. They're with you. They're in your life, wherever you are. So when you're away from the altar, it doesn't mean you're away from your ancestors. And yeah, you can still work with them. They can still be around whether or not there's a candle burning. When you have developed and strengthened that relationship with your ancestors, or with one or two primary ancestors, they're going to be with you and they're going to stay with you. So they're going to be with you when you're in your car. They're going to be with you when you're at work. They're going to be with you when you're at the grocery store. It doesn't matter if you have a candle going on your altar at that time or not. This is a relationship that stays with you throughout your life. Okay. I'm not saying that once you build the relationship, you can stop burning candles and you can stop your devotions. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that even when you're not doing those things, they're still with you as long as you're still putting in the work to that relationship. Okay, next question. How can we clear ancestral karma in the new year? We are all connected, so we can do it. I agree. We are all connected and we can, in fact, do this. From my perspective as a spiritualist, as well as a universalist, the reason that we honor our ancestors and the reason that we work on our relationships with our ancestors, the reasons that we work on that spiritual and energetic connection with our ancestors is to assist them with their spiritual evolution. When we are assisting them with their spiritual evolution, that means what is entailed in spiritual evolution is evolving the spirit, elevating the spirit, assisting with bringing that spirit to a higher level. It's a mutual relationship for mutual benefit, where both our ancestors are helping us with spiritual evolution and we're helping them with spiritual evolution. Entailed within spiritual evolution is healing, is clearing, is cleansing. These things are happening just from us giving them offerings, giving them energy, giving them respect, giving them devotions, giving them gratitude. The whole thing, the whole process of our relationship with our ancestors, is about clearing ancestral karma, or clearing generational curses, or etc. All of that is included in the act of assisting with spiritual evolution. Spiritual evolution is at the core of what we're doing with our ancestral relationships. So in my opinion, there's nothing else that you need to do. Assisting them with their spiritual evolution is the whole purpose. And creating that connection and that relationship with them, and being consistent in your devotions with them, and being committed to your devotions with them, and really working on your spiritual progress with them, all of that is assisting them with their spiritual evolution, and therefore assisting with all of this other stuff as well. All right, the last one is tips to create a prosperous and happy new year. So what I recommend, and what many traditions recommend, is that you do a big spiritual cleanse of yourself and your home before the new year. You might do it on the 31st, on New Year's Eve. I would recommend you do it a little bit before. Maybe this is something you do on the 30th. You want to go into the new year with your energy and the energy of your home as clean as possible, as spiritually elevated as possible. You want to be vibrating high. You want to be calling in the highest and best energy for yourself, your home, your family, your loved ones before that New Year Day hits. You want everything to be fresh on New Year's Day. You don't want to do anything on New Year's Day that you don't want to be doing for the rest of the year. So if you don't want to spend your whole year spiritually cleansing your home, then don't do it on New Year's Day. If you, so that stuff, everything should be taken care of and in place. And then, there are some really simple traditional rituals that people implement on New Year's Day that are for the purpose of calling in blessings of prosperity, abundance, good luck for the new year, like eating red beans and rice. Here in Texas, they eat red beans and rice. In a lot of other places, there's all kinds of different beans, black-eyed peas and rice. You might eat greens and black-eyed peas. Greens are for the purpose of prosperity, of calling in money. And the beans are also for like abundance as well as good luck. So there's special foods, that's all I recommend. It really doesn't have to be super complicated. It really doesn't have to be super intensive. Go into the new year with things as clean and spiritually elevated as possible. Call in those good vibes. Have some candles lit. Make yourself and your loved ones, your family, a special meal that is correspondent to the good luck, blessings, and success that you're seeking. And enjoy a peaceful, wonderful home and day on New Year's Day. What you do on New Year's Day is important, and have your mind and or your prayers or your meditations focused on your intentions for that year on New Year's Day, and that's going to take you a long way. I would say even as soon as you wake up in the morning, light a candle and light some candles around your house and call on your spirits or your deity or whoever it is you work with, and focus on those intentions. Ask for blessings for those intentions, and then maybe say some affirmations and hold those thoughts, hold that energy within you and in your mind as you go about the rest of your day, and really just focus on having your home and your environment as beautiful and peaceful and relaxing and high vibe as you possibly can. And that's it. That's it. So I've gotten through all of the early bird questions, and I'm ready to move on to your live questions. And I've got a couple here on YouTube that I'll start addressing. And if any of you on IG have any live questions, I'm happy to answer them to the best of my ability. And if you haven't participated in live spirit chat before, they happen almost every Sunday at 3 p.m. United States Central Standard Time on YouTube and on Instagram. And this is a chance for you to participate in a live group teaching session and get your questions answered about developing your spiritual practice, developing your spiritual connection, and all kinds of things related, as well as folk magic and candle magic, working with spirits and spirit guides, divination, and so forth. So if you have any questions, feel free to throw them out there. I'm happy to answer them to the best of my ability. So the question on YouTube is, I wanted to know, what's your opinion on having sex the same day that you do a spiritual bath? I've seen a lot of different opinions. So what I know about that is that some traditions have really specific prohibitions on when sexual activities occur. So what I would say is that if you're in a tradition that has prohibitions on that, you should definitely adhere to it. For instance, I know that working with Eshu, you should not go to do your work with him if you've had sex the day before or that day. Then you should not go to work with him until you've showered first. In many traditions, that is the common rule. You shouldn't go to your altar to do any kind of work after you've had sex unless you shower first. So there are prohibitions on that. And I would say, if you're, from my personal opinion, from my personal practices and my personal traditions, if I'm going to do a spiritual cleanse, and I had sex that day, the spiritual cleanse is going to be cleansing me. So I don't see that it's a problem. But I know that some traditions have specific prohibitions against that. Okay, and then there's some comments about the sweetening jar that we were talking about earlier. People are saying they've heard that you're not supposed to open them, so they're thanking me for clarifying that. I do open them. I do continue to work with them. To me, that is part of the process. That's part of the magic, especially if you see that something is going awry, or you know that the situation is going to need some more energy, it's going to need a bigger push. You can always add to those ingredients to continue strengthening it, or to continue to hone in and define your intentions. As the situation changes and unfolds, your needs are going to change and unfold. And part of the benefit of having an ongoing working like that is that you can continue to influence the energy, and you can continue to work with the physical working as your situation is unfolding. So for me, I will definitely recommend opening them up and adding different ingredients to strengthen the energy. What's a good way to stop a meddling relative? Yeah, so you may want to, so if you're going to be having a holiday gathering at your house, or if you're having it at your house, it's easier to influence, but you can also implement this if you're going to a holiday gathering at someone else's house. She's asking about a meddling relative in the holiday gatherings. So you can add some sweetening energy and some friendly energy and some tranquil energy to your holiday gatherings by imbuing the foods or the drinks that you take there. So for instance, if you're going to be bringing a sweet dish, then you can imbue that or charge that, however you want to call it. You can add magical energy to that for sweetening the relationships, for sweetening the person, for sweetening the energies. So my recommendation is that you use magic with your food. I'm just still getting over like a respiratory virus that I had. Excuse me. I was really sick for like a week, and I'm still recovering. I still have a cough and stuff. Anyway, my recommendation is that you magically charge the food or the drink that you are taking to your holiday gatherings in order to influence the energies there, and in order to influence the interactions of the people, and in order to influence the moods of the people. So, you can add cinnamon for joyous times, for friendliness. For example, you can add sugar and honey for sweetening the vibes, for getting people to be sweet and kind to each other. Honey is also used for smoothing the path, for smoothing the way. So that's going to cause more tranquility, more understanding, just more easygoing vibes. And then, yeah, you can look into all kinds of ways to do that and all kinds of different ingredients that you could influence, especially, of course, your herbs and spices. And one thing also, there are a lot of ways that you can bless the things that you give to people with magical energy. So you could give out small gifts to people where you've put some magical intent into that for harmony and harmony and friendliness, etc. You could bring candles and be like, I thought this would be beautiful for enhancing the environment during this holiday gathering. It smells lovely, and you can charge that candle in advance. There's lots of ways you can influence a gathering and influence the people there for the better. Is it okay to do a cleansing white bath on New Year's Eve? In my opinion, most definitely. In fact, that's an excellent time to do a cleansing white bath. Okay, so now we have a question that's referring back to the questions about a spiritual bath and the times prohibitions against having sex close to the time when you're going to do a spiritual bath. So what she's saying now is, I thought that if you have sex sometime after the bath in that day, that it might mess up the cleansing from some things I read. So from my personal opinion, that's not in my belief system, but I know that there are traditions that have specific prohibitions against when you can and can't have sex in conjunction with your spiritual work, whether it's cleansing or other kinds of spiritual work. So what I'm picking up from this is that you're reading things that are written by people who are coming from the perspective of very specific spiritual traditions. So those are their prohibitions. So if you're following the traditions, then you want to pay attention to those prohibitions. But if you're not, then you're going to want to make up your mind for yourself. In my opinion, it won't mess up the cleansing. And I'll tell you that I've gone through some pretty intensive spiritual cleansings and purifications that other people have assisted me with, including a practitioner of Palo, including practitioners of Espiritismo, including practitioners of Santeria, Lukumi. So I'll tell you that in all of those times that I've been through those intensive purifications, no one has ever put prohibitions on me regarding sex in conjunction with those spiritual purifications. So I don't know, take it or leave it. I do know that there are really specific prohibitions on the timing of sex when you're working with specific spirits in specific traditions. So that's something you may want to take into consideration as well. Okay, does anybody else have any questions for our live session? This is a good time to submit your questions if you have them. If you weren't here at the beginning of the chat, I did have some fun special announcements. I'm going to be teaching a workshop on manifesting New Year intentions at Minx Plus Muse here in Austin, Texas on Saturday, January 11th. It's going to be an amazing 3-hour workshop. I'm going to be walking everybody through hands-on practices for manifesting New Year intentions. We're going to be making magic together. We're going to use tarot magic. We're going to use candle magic. It's going to be really cool. So if you're in the Austin area, if you're nearby, consider looking into Minx Plus Muse. Consider signing up for that class. I can't wait to see you. And then for Mystic membership, for the month of January. Mystic membership is my Patreon community, which you can find linked under the YouTube videos as well as linked in my Instagram bio. For Mystic membership in the month of January, there's going to be some really cool stuff going on. There's going to be a virtual version of my course on manifesting New Year intentions. So I'm going to be walking you through exercises to manifest your New Year intentions. And I'm also going to be offering everybody who is a Mystic member. This is a bonus, a special bonus. It's a gift from me to you. Everybody who is a Mystic member at every level is going to be invited to join a live private reading session with me, where I'm going to perform readings on your behalf regarding your New Year forecast and regarding your New Year intentions and your New Year goals. So now is an excellent time to join Mystic membership and take advantage of these special offers. And if you would like to participate in January, then you want to sign up before January 1st. Yeah, you're welcome. Yeah, she's saying she's been told about sexual prohibitions regarding the Orishas. Yes, for sure. Okay, well, thanks everybody for being here. It was a pleasure to see you all today. I'm wishing you many, many blessings this holiday season. I'm wishing you a lovely holiday, lots of blessings, peace, tranquility, abundance, prosperity moving into the new year. I'm wishing you some time to regenerate, rejuvenate, rest, take care of yourself. And I hope you all have a joyous holiday season. And I will be talking to you very soon. Thanks for being here. Thank you for submitting all of your questions. I always look forward to our live spirit chats. I always enjoy interacting with you. I always enjoy your questions and enjoy the conversations that we have. I appreciate all of you and I appreciate your support. So thanks so much, everybody. Be blessed and have an excellent holiday. Bye-bye. Bye-bye, YouTube. Stay blessed. Have a great holiday.